Thank you for having me. I'm stoked to be here.
Dude, your band is creating a huge buzz out east, man. Like, super stoked to talk to you. Your fucking band rules, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot.
And does it feel like 6 years? You guys have been around for 6 years now, right?
Yeah. Um, Not really, because obviously a couple of those years were the pandemic years.
Y-
So
Yeah, crazy years too, hey?
yeah, like we didn't stop being a band or anything, but we obviously there were no like real shows going on and stuff. So it's kind of like, well, I don't know like if we can really count that as like part of the 6 years that we've been building, like the
Yeah.
name and whatnot. But also, like, I started this band when I was in high school.
Oh, no shit.
So, yeah. So, it's like, at the beginning, it wasn't really a serious thing. We kind of just, we got together like at our lunch hour and went and played music and, jammed out. And then eventually we are like, this is fun. Let's book a show. So we booked a show and like we kind of took it from there. But then, like, a couple of us really liked it. We said, we want to see how far we can kind of take this. And others were like, no, I'm going to go to university and get a real job.
Yeah. That's
Obviously,
awesome. And
no,
so,
no hard
so
feelings
like,
there.
like, was this your first serious, like Napoleon, is that your first serious band, or were you in
Yeah,
other bands prior? Or?
for all of well, for me and Aton, yeah, like the
Yeah.
drummer is. I guess for Tommy, our guitarist too, is the first like really, really serious one. Our bassist Camilo has been in a couple before.
Okay. And what's Toronto's music scene like right now, do you think?
It's cool. There's a lot of really, really cool bands going right now. Especially in our genre, I feel like every time we do like a hometown like headlining show, we always have like these big talks about like who we're gonna put on the show and stuff. And there's always a lot of options, which is
Where do you play when you play Toronto?
cool. We've definitely done a few venues here. Um, we have a show like for the record release show is going to be at a venue called Sneaky D's,
Oh,
which is
okay.
a pretty iconic venue here. We played the Hard Luck a few times. We did like our 5-year anniversary headline show there last year. That was like our last big headlining show was last February. It
Oh,
was really cool.
yeah.
Um, we've done this venue called the Velvet Underground here, which is pretty cool a few times. That's always like a support thing though. Like we're always like opening for like other bands when we play there.
Sure. Yeah.
Um,
And you
which is
guys always do like the North by Northeast and all that too, right?
yeah. So we did Bovine for North by Northeast a couple of years in a row. It was crazy. Like the we did it like last June, and the set was like nuts. Like we played at like 1 in the morning.
Oh, no
So,
way.
oh yeah. So we thought like, okay, we're gonna play to like two people. This sucks.
No, no. So you're gonna play
Uh,
to 200 drunk people.
yeah, holy shit, man. Like it was crazy. Like the set was insane. Like I couldn't believe like I was probably the most like it was probably like the rowdiest set we've ever had.
Yeah.
Like the amount of like serving sound. Like the venue, like you could tell like they had no idea what to do. Like they had like these security guards who like came and like stood on the front of the stage, and every time someone would like crowd surf up, they'd be like, stop, stop, stop. But it was awesome. Like it was so much fun.
Yeah. I've been to North by Northeast a few times over the years, right? Just kind of
Yes.
going and
Yeah,
seeing bands.
unfortunately we can't do it this year because it just doesn't work out like based on when our like the release show is like in June because North by Northeast is in June.
Yeah.
But hopefully next year we can go back.
Do you guys ever do the what is it down in, is it, where is the South by Southeast? Is that like Texas or some shit?
Think so.
You guys ever do that? Apparently that's another like
Yeah, that's what
amazing
I've heard. We've
festival for
never been to
bands.
the
But
States.
yeah.
It's really hard for Canadian banks like with the visa process and whatnot.
Yeah.
We're hoping to do it like soon,
Yeah.
but it's
Are,
tough, man.
are you guys thinking of maybe heading out west? Like, do you more, obviously you're going to focus more out, east where you're from, but do you have plans to make it out to Vancouver anytime soon, or?
We don't have plans at the moment, unfortunately. We did have a big talk about maybe doing it this summer, like what for the record, but
Mm-hmm.
didn't work out.
Yeah, because there's a lot of bands in Van that would fit the bill to,
Yeah, I
maybe,
know.
maybe
The
headline
problem,
for you guys or like jump on a show with you. Like, I don't know if you've heard a band called Arlo Wells. They're
I've not
fucking
heard that,
deadly.
no.
Another band called the Kodiak here in Vancouver. Same kind of, you know, hard vibe to it. It's like we've got a really cool scene here as well. Always
Yeah,
have actually.
I've heard.
Vancouver's
Every
always had.
band I know that's gone to Vancouver has said the same thing, and we'd love to go to Vancouver. The
Yep.
problem, though, to be blunt with you, Todd, is that there's not much in between Toronto and Vancouver,
I know, right?
and
You
there's a
drive for
lot of
16
distance.
hours for one, two shows. Like
Yeah, so it's like every single. I can't imagine doing a tour like every single day is like a 12 plus hour drive. Like
it,
that's just
it's
nuts.
crazy. Like even if you're a big band, like big bands like Foo
Yeah,
Fighters,
but what they'll
whatever,
do
like
is they'll
all
like go through like the states, right? And again, like if we could do that, that'd
right,
be awesome. But
right,
it
right.
goes back to the same issue, like the visa issue. So we've kind of accepted at this point that like Western Canada is kind of in the same. It's kind of just tied up with the same issue as like going to the States is for us. Like until we can sort out this visa issue, well, not sort out. Like obviously we know how to get
Yeah, yeah,
visas.
yeah. I know what you're saying. Like, you know,
Until we're at a point where like we can like feasibly do that without losing like tens of thousands of dollars. The Western Canada is kind of like locked to us the same way like the States is.
yeah, yeah, I feel that. What was the music like in your house, John, as a kid growing up?
Um, Definitely not the stuff we play.
No.
No. Just like top 40 stuff. Like no one in my family really was into like alternative heavy music. That's
Hmm.
kind of something I just found on my own.
Okay. Okay. Like, was it a big music house or like, are they surprised? Are your parents surprised? Your friends surprised? Like that you're down this path? No?
Um, it's funny actually. I was just talking about this with my dad and my grandmother the other day, and they were
Hmm.
saying they were saying like ever since I was a kid, I apparently really liked music. So they
Okay.
weren't surprised per se, but definitely did not. There was no like outside influence kind of like forcing me into this. I kind of just discovered it all on my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
Apparently, when I was a kid, I don't really remember this, but apparently, like when I was like a toddler, I was like really obsessed with like the Wiggles, and like my parents even like took me to like a Wiggles concert and stuff.
No way.
Like I always had that kind of, that musical inclination
What was your first concert?
about the Wiggles.
Was it the Wiggles? Yeah, the first.
Yeah, I guess I was like three.
Do you remember it at all though?
Not really.
Yeah.
It was apparently at like the Molson Canadian Amphitheater here, which is now called Budweiser Stage.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Apparently, I got really sick and we left halfway through. Like I had like a fever and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know. The first concert I went to, like as I remember, was I went to see U2 when I was still pretty young.
Okay.
When I was like a kid, not like a toddler anymore,
Yeah.
like grade school kind of
Like you'll
like they
remember it.
were like
Yeah.
the band like I was like really obsessed with.
What do you remember from that show? Like what
Obviously
stands out?
one of the biggest bands of all time.
Yeah.
So like, a huge shows and I mean like I think they were doing like 2 or 3 nights straight at like the Air Canada Center, which is like the big arena here.
Yeah.
Um I remember like there was no openers or anything. Like it was just them. And
But like a massive like 2 hour, 3 hour show.
yeah, they played for like 3.5 hours. Crazy. And it took like an intermission between. It was weird because it's like very not like any other show I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've actually I've seen you two twice because like for me now it's like nostalgia.
Sure.
But the second time I saw them, like it was more like normal show. Like they played in a stadium, which I guess is more like their kind of size. So they had like an opening band. They just played like a normal length set. But this time was crazy. Like they played for 3.5 hours. It took like a break. Their stage wasn't even like a real stage. It was like there was like the station. There was like a giant like walkway thing, and like screens came down. They were like going up and down. So it was like nuts.
And like think about that when they're on tour, John, too, right? Like they need to piggyback that to the next city too. It's not just like that's the one show. Like they've got
Oh, I know
multiple
it's
shows.
nuts.
Like, and think of the logistics of doing that. Set
Yeah.
up, tear down, jump, leapfrog to the next city. Like it's a fucking colossal machine, man.
Yeah, but obviously when you're in a band that big, it's very it's not even about the band at that point. Like it's like
No.
there's so many hands involved.
Yeah. 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 I've talked to a lot of musicians through my time in radio, through my time here in podcasting and stuff, and they say that, when you're on stage and you're playing the show, it's really kind of hard to live in the moment. Would you agree with that?
It's hard to live in the moment.
Yeah. Like it slips by so quickly, and you look back, you're like, holy shit, man, that happened.
Um, hmm. I I don't know. I don't think I would say that.
No?
I I I could see how if you were in a band like you two, for example, where
Sure.
like you have all these like crazy productions, you're like playing to a click, you play the exact same set list every night. Like I could see how like it could become like monotonous and like it would start to go by fast. It's like if you do the same thing every single day, like eventually it's not like
Well,
that's
that's weird though too. It's like you become Groundhog Day, like
yeah. I mean, I'm
not
not
the
I'm not
point of
talking
music,
shit
is
on
it?
that, like to be clear, because like I understand like when you're like if you're playing like venues that size or even like even those like 1,500 to 2,500 cap rooms and you have like those big stages, you have to have that production like in order to make the show like more, you know, like more like the production's a big thing, right?
It's a
And
show.
yeah, like it's part of the show. And like if you don't have that, like it's easy to like fall into like the mix of just like bands who have like average shows, right? Like it's a big thing for them. And like when you have that, it's difficult to do it when you're like completely changing everything every night. Like most bands are going to be playing to a click and all those things.
Mhm.
But we're a much smaller band. Obviously, we're playing like bars, very small clubs, those kind of things, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have any of that. So we don't play to a click. We don't play to any. We don't have like any like moving lights or moving parts or anything, right? So even if we are playing the same set every night, which on a tour we sometimes do. Sometimes we'll have like parts in the set where like we'll have like one or two songs to choose from. Um, but even if we do play the exact same set of songs, it's going to be different inevitably.
Yeah.
And if I look back, like even just like our show last, like even if I just look back at like our touring schedule last year, I could probably pinpoint something unique in every show we played
Hmm. That's
if
pretty
I
good.
really tried to.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are the shows though too, right? Like, as much as you play a really good show and it's a good show, but like the shows that are unique and maybe you messed up a song or you suddenly went into a cover song or somebody jumped up on stage, like those are the shows that you're going to remember more than like, yeah, we played a great show in Windsor.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, we try not to take it like ultra seriously. Where like it's like we try to be a good band, obviously,
Yeah.
but like we don't sweat the small things. If someone makes a mistake, it's like all right, whatever. Like we just laugh it off.
Sure. Sure.
Well, like the last show we did like a really small like surprise kind of show in Toronto a couple weeks ago. The day that that song "Help Me" came out, or a couple days after it came out, sorry.
Okay.
And it was like the single release party for that show. Um, it was like a really tiny show. Um, Pretty much like you could only go if you were like on like our mailing list, basically.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Um, but like on the second song, Aton's like the drummer's like kick pedal, like smash straight through like the drum head.
Oh, no.
And we were like, fuck, fuck, fuck,
Like,
fuck, what do we do here?
here we go.
And then one of the guys in support band is like, if you flip the drum around, you can like hit the other side. We're like, oh, okay, I guess that's actually not a bad play. So we started doing that. But he's like, I need like 5 minutes to like redo my kit. And I was like, oh, that's awkward now. Like I
Yeah.
have to like do this for 5 minutes, I guess. And then some guy in the crowd like started screaming, play a Weezer cover, play a Weezer cover. So then kind of just like as a joke, like Tommy started playing like the Say It Ain't So riff, and then everyone started like singing it along, and like we actually went through the whole song. It was hilarious.
Wow.
We just
Like
did
the
this
whole
like
crowd singing too.
yeah, it was nuts. And like people were like watching and stuff to just like guitar and them singing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it's like see, like the thing is like when your show becomes like ultra like dialed and ultra programmed, you can't have moments
We
like
can't
that.
do
But when
that.
you have those moments,
Right.
I mean, obviously not everything costly screws up every night, but like,
Sure. Unless you make that part of your thing. Second
yeah,
song again. Oh fuck the drum. Oh, it's done again. I will have to.
yeah, no, everything falls apart. No,
Yeah.
but like we have little things like that in almost every show, which is awesome.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. And did I read that Scott from Cancer Bats is your manager?
Yes,
Dude, they're like
formerly
one of the fucking best bands in Canada.
they are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those, yeah, that's
That's
awesome, man.
crazy, man. I saw those guys at a really small place here in Vancouver, no longer around, but it was called the Media Club.
Mhm.
Maybe held 120 people.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it was like one of the best shows I've ever seen. They're so fucking good, man.
Yeah, incredible band. Yeah.
Could you pick one career highlight? Like, is that possible, or is it just too many cool things?
Ooh. I mean, first of all, I don't know that I would call Napoleon a career, but um,
Well, you're building it to a career.
building it, we're hoping.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, hmm, that's a tough one. There's definitely been a lot of really cool things that have happened. I would say a really big one for me was having Shane from Silverstein sing on our song.
Yeah, how'd you
Uh,
get that to happen?
Scott hooked it up actually.
Nice.
Yeah, he it was funny actually because like for me, Silverstein was like one of the first like screamo like metalcore kind of bands that I got into.
Mm,
And like I would say it was like them and Alexis on Fire was the reason like I was like, oh, I want to learn to scream. And one day it was like right when COVID started, we had that song called well, it's called I Better Run now, but it used to be called Enemy.
mm.
And like it was finished. And we were talking and we were saying, yo, we should try and get someone to sing on this song because we just put out our men's song that had the guy from the Dirty Nil singing on it. And that did quite well for us. So we said we should try and hook something up like that again. And we were talking about like, oh, who could do it? Who could do it? And I kind of just said casually because we were talking about like the last show that we went to before COVID, and like the last like bigger concert that I went to was Silverstone, like right before COVID, because they played in London, Ontario, a couple weeks before like everything shut down. I was telling him, yeah, it was really cool. Like I've seen them a couple times, but that was like the best time I saw them. Like they came out with like such a cool show. It's cool to see a band like that old, like still not old, but like 20 years into it, like 20 years in, like still putting out like fucking
Yeah, fuck, crushing band.
still like trying to like one up themselves. Like so many like bands are just like kind of like throwing the towel at that point. Like, yeah, fuck it, like we'll just go play, make our money and whatever. But to watch, and I was telling Scott, like it's like really inspirational to me to see like a band like that's been around for so long, like really like pushing to be better and better and better.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, actually, I'm really close with those guys. Like,
Huh.
I was like, yo, you should ask Shane. Like, that'd be crazy. Like, that would be like a dream for me.
Yeah.
And he asked, he's like, yeah, let's the track, let's do it. I was like,
Because that's fucking crazy. So like you're hanging in studio like for the full day. It's like just a day thing or what? Probably, right?
he actually recorded the vocals at his place.
Oh, okay.
It was he lives quite far from us. Um, so he recorded the vocals there, but he did come to be in the video. Unfortunately, I was the only one who got to be there for that because this was like the peak of COVID.
Oh,
So we were really
yeah,
trying
yeah,
to keep, yeah. So like there were parts where like him and I were in the frame together. So him and I did that, which was awesome. But the other guys unfortunately were not there.
yeah, yeah. Cool, dude. Very cool, man. Outside of music, let's get outside of music here for a sec. Are you a big sports fan? Do you give a shit about the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Oh, you
Care
can't say
about
anything.
Toronto Maple
Not at all.
Leafs or
No, no, I'm not a sports guy at all.
no?
No, you got the wrong member for that. Tommy and Aton, like I mean, Aton specifically loves
Yeah.
sports.
So what drives you outside of the band then? Are you a big reader? Do you a lot of binge watching? Like what do you do?
Uh, Not much outside of music, to be honest with you. Like I'm
Yeah,
just a
fair.
really music fan,
Yeah.
like Scott always makes this joke. He's like, you're basically like the Wikipedia of like metal and hardcore. I'm like, yeah, I know.
That's awesome. I'm the same. I'm the same, man. Like music drives me. I do watch shows and I do like sports and stuff, but like
Yeah, I mean,
overall,
obviously, like, obviously,
sure.
I don't listen to
Yeah.
music whatsoever,
You're like,
but
no,
like,
fuck that. I'm not gonna watch the hockey game. Like, of course you'll watch if the guys are watching or whatever, but it's not
yeah,
something you're
exactly. Like,
actively
I've watched a TV show and I've watched movies and whatnot, but
sure.
it's not something I'm like actively, like seeking.
Yeah. What have you been binge watching lately?
Oof. I've been so busy lately, honestly. Like I haven't actually sat down and watched TV in a long time.
Really?
Yeah,
Well, I'm getting that answer a lot lately, actually.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, obviously, like our record's about to come out, so like
Yeah.
I've been doing like these interviews a lot. Um, you know, stuff like that. I'm also getting ready to take like a bunch of time off work to, tour and stuff. So,
What do you do for work? Are they pretty forgiving for you taking that time off or what?
sort of. I'm a music teacher actually.
No way.
So, it kind of works out because like I work in the school system. So like when like they have summer break, I have summer break. And then I start taking like part-time work elsewhere, like to fill in like the gaps like when we're not on tour.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So you are all music.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. That's great. What's the worst job you've had?
The worst job I had. Oh shit. Um, hmm. I used to work as like one of those like cart pushers, like at a grocery store. That was pretty
Okay.
miserable. Like in the dead of like the
As
Canadian
you're
winter.
pushing the car, you're like, fucking $8, baby. I'm making $8
Yeah,
this.
no, literally, like I think like if I was obviously minimum wage, I'm like, fuck, this sucks. I was in like my first year of university and stuff, and I was like, this is like the worst.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was like I think I lasted maybe like 6 or 7 months because like I didn't like I couldn't find any other job. So
Sure.
like I had no experience or anything at that point, but they were like, yeah, we'll hire you. So I was like, okay, I guess I'll do
Yeah.
this. I didn't mind it at first actually. 'Cause, like I think I started in like October, November, so it wasn't that cold yet.
Uh,
Yeah, I put on like my jacket. I was kind of chilly. And like because I was working outside the store, I could kind of like listen to music while I do. Like I would put like my earphones in and
oh, nice, nice, nice. Yeah, we've all had those jobs though, where you're like, fuck, man, I want to take this job, but I need the dough. Like for me,
yeah, like that was it. And like the thing is like those kinds of jobs are like super flexible. So like between like this was when the band was kind of starting to become serious, and I was also in university. So like I really needed that flexibility.
yeah, yeah.
It kind of worked out for a bit, but then like the winter months rolled around and I was like, fuck
Well,
this.
dude, it's
Like,
balls
yeah,
cold
this
out
is
east, man.
cool.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, like, we're from Toronto, so it's not even that bad here. But like
yeah,
I did not have the patience. I remember also it was funny 'cause my manager, like, shout out if you're watching this, you were a fucking dick. Like she was like, I'm never gonna forget like when I finally like quit.
yeah.
She's like, no, you can't quit. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, no, we don't accept your. She said to me, we don't accept your 2 week resignation. I was like, you don't have a choice. Like I'm not doing this anymore. And she's
Yeah.
like, no, no, we need you to stay for at least 6 weeks.
You're like, yeah, won't see you in 2 weeks. So
I was like, no,
there
you
you
can
go.
have two. No. So she's like, I was like, you can have 2 weeks. And we ended up reaching some agreement where they would like give me like a temporary raise if I stayed for like 4 weeks or whatever. But I still wasn't very happy about it. But like,
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. For some
Yeah,
reason,
yeah,
I
dude.
felt
When you truly think about it, they don't have to give you any fucking time. Like, why do we got to give the employer time? You know what I mean? Like, they
I
can
mean, you
fire
actually
us.
technically don't. It's really just a
They don't
courtesy.
really. It's courtesy, yeah, for sure, yeah.
But I obviously didn't want to like. I was hoping to use them as a reference and stuff, so I didn't want to like make a big scene, which I think is why I agreed to stay for 4 weeks. But I'm never gonna forget there was like one moment where they moved me like out of the carts and they moved me into like the gardening section where they were like making me like move like all these like big bags of like dirt.
You're like, fuck
I was
this.
like, this is literally the worst thing I've ever done in my entire life. I don't want to do this again. So I kind of just like started like not really doing it. I would kind of just like sit around like play on my phone. And
Yeah,
I at
yeah,
one point like my supervisor like called me into her office and she's like, we need to talk about your performance over the last couple of weeks. And I was like, what do you mean? And she's like, well, we've noticed that ever since you quit, you've been half-assing your job. And I was like,
yeah.
really?
Interesting.
Interesting take there.
Yeah, wonder why that is. All right, John, I'm going to wrap this up with one oddball question for you.
Absolutely.
I
Bring it on.
guarantee you've probably never been asked this before.
Let's hear it.
I want you to share a near-death story with us where you're like, holy fuck, I could have just died there.
I don't know if I've ever had one, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah, I've never been. I don't know.
It's
Someone
fucking
hit my
knock wood
one
for
time
you.
I was riding my bike, like when I was younger, and someone hit the bike and like I fell off. So
Yeah.
I guess that was like the closest. I got into a pretty big accident recently too, like in a car.
Oh,
I
what
don't
happened there?
know. I was like at a red light and I was rear-ended like while I was waiting at the red light, but the person who hit me was going like so fast that my car spun into the car in front of me.
No.
I was like completely fine though. Like the car, her car, the person who hit me's car was totaled, and then both like like my car and the car that like I spun into had like mega damage.
Yeah.
But I guess the like adjuster, the insurance adjuster actually told me that I was lucky to like he said like you're lucky to be alive or at the very least not injured. I was like, oh, it seemed not bad to me.
Huh.
Like airbags didn't come out or anything, but
No shit, eh? Oh, well,
he said like
it's not bad.
yeah, it didn't seem that bad. Like I was like, he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, hitting you at that speed, and then like that no car was coming from the other lane. Like that's crazy. And I was like, I
Hmm.
don't know, it didn't seem that bad.
Yeah.
I guess. I
Yeah.
mean, it was like mega damage to the car. Like it was very
Like you
expensive.
read it off?
No, well, I my car's a lease, so like I had to fix it. Like,
Oh, oh,
I had no choice. But also like I wasn't at fault, so like
so
her
whatever.
insurance.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, cool. What's the rest of 2024 looking like for Napoleon?
That's a bit of a tough one too. Um, there's definitely a lot of touring coming up, like
Yeah.
starting in like we're gonna be pretty busy for the rest of the summer and stuff. We're talking about trying to follow this up with a couple singles really quick though.
Mm,
I don't know how that's gonna play out, but I think there's a good chance you'll hear more music from us this year.
nice.
We
Nice.
also do have I'm not gonna give away which one. We do have a cover song recorded, which
Oh yeah. I
I'll put
love
that.
covers, man.
Yeah, it's a fun one. I mean, anyone who like actually been seeing our band for the last couple of years probably knows which one it is.
Probably knows, yeah. No, I
But
don't know what it is about covers, man. I just fucking I love another band's take on a band song. Like and I always have, like even as a little kid, like I don't know what it is.
yeah, it's fun. I don't know. We like
Yeah.
to play other. We like to do covers. It's fun.
Yeah, yeah. Of course your band's all over the internet, Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Music,
Everywhere you can find us, like the tag is always Napoleon Toronto.
NapoleonToronto.com's the official website. Anything else before I sign off here?
I got nothing else to say.
Thank you, John. Love your band, buddy.
Having me thought, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate it a ton.
I'll tag you guys when we're chucking this shit around online and hopefully we see you in Vancouver sooner
I
than
hope
later.
so too, man. I hope we can meet up one day soon.